What's up, guys? I'm Williams, aka TheSwolefessor, here to educate you on health, fitness, social well-being. Before we get into this video topic, I just want to take the time to thank you guys for 17,000 plus subs on this channel. That is, to me, that's absolutely amazing. I know I say that every time we reach like a new threshold, but it's like, despite all the different setbacks that this platform itself has had, not so much like me, but like this platform as far as, the whole YouTube ad apocalypse thing that happened, all the algorithm changes, subscribers no longer really like getting notifications of when the people are subbed to upload videos, all these things that have happened that pretty much just make it harder as a whole to grow on this platform, especially if you're a smaller channel. Despite all that, the fact that we continue to see consistent growth in my almost 3 years now on YouTube is just amazing. So I want to take the time to thank each and every one of you. I will be doing a Q&A as usual, like, every time we reach, get another 1,000 subs, I like to do a Q&A, so that way those of you who have subbed can ask whatever questions you want, whether it's related to fitness, health, social well-being, personal, whatever it may be. So if you're not, make sure you're following me on Instagram, because that's where I'll be doing, announcing the Q&A, and probably either be on my story or a post where you guys can ask your questions, and then I'll be, creating a Q&A video from that. And I'll also be doing a giveaway pretty soon with the company that I just recently started working with. I'll give you more information on that probably in the next video, or once again on Instagram. So just make sure you're following me. You'll be able to keep up with all of that. But with that being said, let's get into today's video topic. So you guys have probably often heard, different people say, hey, you got to get comfortable with being uncomfortable, which just ties back into what I tell you guys all the time. You got to find contentment and growth. The reality is that as human beings, we are supposed to be dynamic, because life is dynamic. Things are always changing, growing. There's diversity. Just everything is constantly moving in life. And even though I stress the importance of taking the time to sometimes just chill, relax, kind of be at peace, and kind of excuse me, just enjoy life, enjoy what you build, enjoy how far you've come. You can never don't get too content with where you're at. But what I want to focus on more so, instead of just get comfortable with being uncomfortable, always make sure you're growing and bettering yourself and challenging yourself. I want to talk about the dangers of being too comfortable, and how being too comfortable ultimately leads to ultimate discomfort. So it ties in hand in hand, but I think hearing the other side of it is important, because you guys have heard the benefits of what happens when you focus on contentment and growth, what happens when you continue to try to better yourselves in all areas of your life, whether we're talking about fitness, school, your family, whatever it may be. But I want to really talk about the detrimental aspect of what happens when you don't do that. So one of the best examples that I can give, right, of how people can get so comfortable, and it's usually getting comfortable up here, to where even though in reality they're very uncomfortable, they are so comfortable in their mindsets to where the discomfort they're experiencing physically doesn't even bother them anymore. And I think a very practical example of this, especially with being a fitness channel, would be obesity. Now, we already know it's 2019, it's impossible to say anything without offending anybody nowadays. It's people don't want to hear truth. Even if it's objective, factually proven truth, everybody wants to have the mindset of oh, it's about, my truth and everything's subjective. We know that's not true. We know that some things are subjective, and as a result, other things are objective. Some things apply to everyone on an individual basis, and some things apply to everyone just across the board, period. For example, if you're not, unless you're on some machine to keep you alive, your heart stops beating, guess what? You're dead, you die. That is objective. You're across the board. You're not a special snowflake who's excluded from that. So while I'm not somebody who says that everything's objective and everything applies to everyone the same way, because that's simply not true, I don't go to the opposite extreme saying that everything is subjective. You guys already know I don't believe, reality. I don't believe reality is based upon your perception. I believe reality is reality in actuality, and your perception just determines how you respond to it. So with all of that being said, all of my, me kind of covering my bases with that, obesity is unhealthy. That's just a fact. No credible doctor, no evidence out there supports otherwise. We know that obesity is unhealthy. We know that being obese is unhealthy. It doesn't mean that you're a bad person. It doesn't mean that you should be mistreated for that. I don't believe in finding people who have problems and then treating them like crap because of their problems. I believe in offering solutions. The problem is nowadays, if you offer a solution, or if you point out the fact that, hey, this is unhealthy, I think you should do this to get out of this situation, it's now seen the same as mistreating somebody, which is a complete joke, but that's a different video for a different time. But just across the board, like I said, obesity is unhealthy. You raise your risk of all kinds of diseases higher, and then even simpler things like the fact that, like, you know, your knees, like you're very clinically obese, walking around on your knees, like the effects it has on your joints, all that kind of stuff, right? So it's unhealthy, and it's also very, very uncomfortable. If you talk to anybody who used to be like very obese or extremely overweight and how they lost weight, and just ask them like how they feel after they lost the weight compared to before, they'll tell you like just how much better they feel as a whole, not just like healthier internally, but like just more comfortable. Because I mean, think about it, when you can barely take a few steps without gasping for air, that's not comfortable, obviously. But people get so comfortable up here in the sense of they don't want to change. They don't want to change their lifestyles. They don't want to put in the work or the effort to lose weight, whatever it may be, to where even though they are clearly in a point of discomfort, they're clearly in a point of detriment, it doesn't matter because they're comfortable up here. And that lets them tolerate all the discomfort they're feeling physically, which sounds ridiculous, but I mean, we see it all the time, right? It's at a point now where people are really trying to preach things like, you know, like healthy at any size. They're like, oh, obesity isn't unhealthy. Like, there are literally like movements on like the internet of people promoting this stuff. And it all comes down to the fact that instead of taking responsibility for their lives, they want everyone just to accept them for, you know, who they are, which again is ridiculous because being obese is not who you are. It's a state you're in, but that's not who you are. And I tell you guys all the time, self-love means self-betterment. If you truly love yourself, it doesn't mean that you just look at all your flaws and issues and go like, oh, well, I just accept myself fully. No, it means that you love who you are so much as a person to where you want what's best for yourself as a person. You want to continue to grow and better yourself. And the reality is, I use this example all the time. Like if you have a friend or a relative who's got like drug problems, right? And you love them, you're not gonna sit there and be like, oh, I love you, it's cool, man, just do you. No, you're gonna try to get them help. You're gonna try to get them into rehab, or if they're an alcoholic, you're gonna try to get them into rehab, right? And the reality is the same thing with self-love. If you love yourself, you're not just gonna look at all your issues and be like, oh, it's okay, I love myself. Like, no, you're gonna be like, yo, this is bad for me, this is detrimental for me, this is clearly causing harm to me, and I need to find ways to get away from it or work around it, whatever it may be, right? But what's unfortunate is oftentimes, and that's just one example, we just get to this point where we're so like dogmatically content and just okay with how we're living or how we're doing things, and we don't want to take plenty of time to change, to where we don't care what's going on to us physically or what's happening to us like with our friends or families. Like, we can be at a point where, like, I'll give you another example. Let's say you're someone where you know you have a temper, you know you're quick to anger. And even though, you know, everyone gets angry, it's okay, it's normal. If you're somebody where you're quick to anger and you have a temper, you're quick to go off on people or even be physically violent, you're gonna find that you're gonna end up living a pretty lonely life. People aren't gonna wanna be around you. But instead of taking the time to recognize that and realizing, yo, my friends don't wanna be around me, my family members don't wanna be around me, I need to change this, you somehow in your mind justify that the way you are is okay. You're so content, you're so comfortable with how you are, how you've been, or you justify it because of things you've gone through, whatever your experiences are, to where you feel like, no, this is okay, I deserve to be this way. To where even though you're clearly alone, which isn't healthy, which isn't a good thing, not that there's anything wrong with having periods of time where you are alone, but just humans aren't meant to be alone all the time, you know, like not having anybody around you, not having anybody who wants to be around you, that's not a good thing, that's clearly bad, but you stay that way because you're comfortable. Like, you're comfortable with how you are, and you're not willing to change that, even though it's clearly causing discomfort in other areas of life. So I think it's important to understand, guys, that it's not just about, hey, you know, seek to get better every single day, seek to, you know, grow in all these areas and fields so you can, like, you know, just make the most money possible or have the most friends possible. It's not just about all these positives you get, even though that is what you should be focused on, but it's understanding that there are clearly negative consequences to not changing. And that ultimately, if your goal in life is to just be comfortable, that's it, that's going to lead to detrimental problems in the long term. In the short term, you may feel great. It's like, oh, well, I like being how I am. Or I like, you know, feeling justified in everything that I do, whether it's good, bad, negative, positive, whatever. But you will eventually get to a point where you quickly realize that, man, if I don't change this, then bad things are going to happen. And at that point, it's on you to decide if you continue to live that way or not. And I'm not saying that it's easy, because it's not. Everybody has issues, everybody has problems, everybody has things they've gone through. Like I said, based upon maybe your past experiences, or somebody hurt you, or multiple people hurt you, whatever it may be, you may feel justified in just staying as you are and living in a way that's just comfortable and easy to you, because it is hard to change. But you'll find that in the long term, even though you get this temporary discomfort with trying to change, that it's ultimately going to lead to you being more comfortable in the long term, which is why I said get comfortable with being uncomfortable. Because if you get to the point where you're content in growth, then you're only going to feel comfortable when you're growing, when you're changing, when you're doing better in all different areas of life. Versus if you just stay comfortable, you will get to a point where you become uncomfortable. Because even though you want to stay the same, everything around you is, like I said, is dynamic. It's constantly changing. And because it's constantly changing, you will get to a point where it's like, okay, let's say at this point everyone's using electricity, right? Everybody's using electronics, electricity, and you're still over here with your torch, right? That's going to be a very uncomfortable way to live. You're so comfortable with how you used to do things to where you're not moving on with the times, right? So it's just one of these things where I think it's important to understand that. And I think fitness is a great example of it. It's like you can't just keep doing the same thing over and over and over, right? Like if we're trying to get stronger, we got to progressively over. We got to keep pushing it, keep trying to get better. Otherwise, you're going to notice everyone around you continues to do that, and you're still in the same spot, and that's just not fun for you. And that's just another quick example of how life really is. So yeah, I just felt like addressing that. It was on my mind. You guys know how these social well-being videos go. Topic comes to me, put the camera up, record, and just start talking to you guys. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, go in the comment down below, let me know what you did. If you know, leave a comment down below, let me know what I can do better. Like the video, share, subscribe. Keep it simple, specific, scientific. I'll catch you guys later.